Hello. Have you noticed of late that there seems to be this sense of, it's hard to describe, almost like this anger, this rage almost, that's simmering under the current, for want of a better word. We're here, we feel this current kind of like stimulating us to this strange energy, as I would call it. And it feels a bit overwhelming, to be honest with you. And have you been experiencing this yourself? Has that come to you? Have you felt like not quite yourself and find yourself getting irritable, irascible over things that you know really is just let it go, just ride over it? I'm curious. And before I carry on, I'd just like to bring your attention that for those who are attuned to Reiki, I've got a little swipe file that I'd be glad to share with you in creative ways to use Reiki. Just put swipe me in the comments and we can arrange that for you. Okay, so just a little bit of a personal thing, how it's kind of got me a little bit today. So I thought today I'd go for a little walk just to clear my mind. I do that sometimes, for whatever reason. I just felt not myself, if you know what I mean. Couldn't sleep last night, just feel tossed. I know it's sort of like a full moon and there's a lot of quite warmth. It's quite warm for this time. I know it's August, so it's obviously going to get warm, but it just feels like this oppression, this oppressive energy. So I was walking out in the woods and I just felt every step as if like, what is this stuff around me? What is this feeling? Where is all this coming from? And it just got me more and more energy. And I was almost like tuning into the earth, and I get it then. There's a collectiveness. There's a collective kind of sort of like tension, is how I would call it. And I often speak of like, I done a little YouTube short the other day about getting into flow, but it's not like that. Everything is tense. There's an agitation that's going around, and again, I just wonder how many of you are feeling that yourself when you're doing stuff at work, for example. Someone will do something trivial and it will set you off on edge. At home, maybe in your home life or whatever. Are you finding that? And what can we do about it, really? I mean, this is what we're going to explore as we go into today's little discussion about what we can do to offset those feelings. I feel at times we have to let those rage go through, and that's what I do. I just let it sort of like go. And these are the days I miss my karate days, because your good old karate session, and you would, any sort of thing that's built up, you would just release it. So these are little things that are just bubbling under, as I call it. So where's it all coming from? Let's have a look at the world in general right now. If we look at the sun, for example, that sends a lot of energy, and I'm not going into too much detail. You can look this up yourself. There's this thing called the Schumann resonance, which is right now is absolutely crazy. So this is like solar flares, solar storms coming our way. This energy is coming our way, and throw in a full moon that we've just had, called a sturgeon moon. It's like a super amplifier. Everything is amplified. So any little normal niggles suddenly became major issues. Suddenly they become something potent within all of us. And dare I say, there is a lot of conflict in the world right now. You look around, just recently we had India and Pakistan very close to very, very serious conflict. There was some excursions and people did lose their lives, which is, really shouldn't be happening, but it did. And there's two nuclear powers facing off against each other. It's a little bit disconcerting. Fortunately, for the time being, common sense has prevailed. We have Israel right now. There's tremendous conflict of Israel in Gaza and Iran, and even Syria being thrown into the mix. Again, it's almost like a powder keg that's just bubbling under. We've had sort of like Ukraine that's been going on for far too long now. The conflict out there being stirred again by power grabs. We won't go into too much of the politics there. But there is also this feeling in the air. This feeling in the air of, and people being stirred up. There's this sense of, worryingly, it's like nationalism. we've seen it in the US, haven't we? This is kind of like strange energy that's at work. People are almost blinkered to what's going on, and sort of like, this anger against sort of like, people, illegals, for want of a better word, as they call them over there. And the real crimes are not being looked at. It's always being like, the smoke screen, while the trivial stuff is being kind of highlighted. And there's this sense of injustice that's just being accepted. It's just accepted. And it's worrying because when you look throughout countries, there seems to be this right-wing nationalism that's coming up through the wings, and it concerns me a bit when I see, spiritual people taking this path of national identity, and there is this looking for scapegoats, looking for people to blame for all their worries and woes, and this is disturbing because we had something very similar happen in the 1920s and 1930s in Germany. And that was, how ultimately fascism won. For a good period of time, fascism was in top. And it really is a worry that we come to this day and age to see that kind of rhetoric, that dangerous talk being stimulated. You talk about people hearing them say, oh, there's going to be conflict soon, there's going to be war. And you wonder what seeds are being sown and where it's all coming from and what people's agendas are. And we have to be so careful that we can fall into that trap. And really, we need to just reset ourselves into who we really are. And that is not who we are. We should be surely, is it not right that we should be embracing, not pushing away and rejecting and staying in our own little fiefdoms and stirring up this anger, and the anger keeps coming. And that's how I feel when I was out today. That's what I was picking up on. And it's infectious. It's infectious, and we lose our capability to thought, and we rather believe in a slogan than what is right. Forgive me if I have veered into politics a little bit. I don't normally do that, but it's just a feeling that I was picking up today. And I'm not here to say which way to, you to vote. You make your own mind up. But what I would say is just be aware of what's going on, because there is a lot of manipulation going on out there right now. And it's kind of like the wolf in sheep's clothing. There's definitely that. I'll be your friend. I'll help you. But really, there's a lot of self-serving going on. So just something for us to contemplate. I certainly have been. Okay, so what can we do as Reiki healers, and not just Reiki people, but maybe spiritualists in general? What can we do? And the most obvious one is to get ourselves in a peaceful place. So if you find yourself rising up to those feelings of irritation, that anger, step into the energy of meditation. Meditate, get yourself in a nice, calm space. Take the time to breathe and just almost distance yourself. It's like a barrier there. Rise above the energy below, because it's very heavy, very dense, and it can really mess with your mind. And if we can quieten the mind, come to our heart center, that would certainly be a nice place to be. Of course, for all my Reiki friends out there, use your Reiki skills. The one that comes to mind is Seiki energy. For those who are level 2 and above, you'll know what the one that is. Where we bring in that heavenly energy to balance our emotional energy right now. You could obviously use, if you're a Reiki Master teacher, you could use maybe the Daikomyo symbols if you wanted to. But I think I'm drawn to the Seiki, or even the Shoko Ray, because that's a nice strong earth energy we could use. Just make sure you get it in nice gold colours. Bring in that golden vibration, or a nice high light colour, high as you can go. It'd serve us well. And find an outlet. If you can't do those and you've got this anger, find an outlet for it. And that could be something physical, for example. That could be some kind of like exercise to physically move that energy. Like I say, I used to do karate back in the day. But dancing, dancing's a good one. Just walking, just allow it to, and get your thoughts out. get the thoughts out of your energy. It will do you good to do that. So there we are. That's my thoughts today on that. And remember, this is just my opinions. I'm not here on a soapbox to say you must do that. It's just me sharing my own humble opinions. And I would love you to share your comments, what you feel is going on. Are you feeling this? Or perhaps are you kind of like, sort of like on another level, it's not really, are you managing to ride those currents a little bit better than myself? And others that I know is certainly affecting them. So please do comment below what you're feeling. And any questions that come to mind. And I'm not the oracle. I'll do my best to answer them, but I will just honestly put on my own spin, and maybe we can have a little discussion below. I'd love to have that on here. I know many people do watch and they like to just keep quiet rather than just write a comment or two, which I totally understand. But please do feel free to maybe mention your thoughts, and because every point is valid, that we must sort of like embrace everything, because we are all one. We're not separate little islands, we are one. And if we can get into that unity consciousness, I'm all for that. And, if you looking to settle your chakras, or whatever that word, I'm currently doing a little 5-minute series of chakra balancing videos at the moment. I haven't done all of them. I think I've done the base, I have done the sacral, I believe I've done the solar plexus. I did one for the heart, that's more Lionsgate. I will do another heart one soon, and I will slowly go through all of the main chakras for you. So that's something to consider. And once again, just a reminder, I do have this little swipe file of creative ways to use Reiki. It's only a little thing, it's nothing major, just a few ideas, literally just a few little pictures and ideas on a little PDF. I may well elaborate on that as I go forward. So please do consider that, and many thanks to you all for staying this long, and I wish you a beautiful day, whatever you are doing. Much love, catch you soon.